Oh, wait, no, that's a preview. I don't know why it does that. It defaults to a preview of the music, not a live. You got to click the live button.
Mm. Nobody wants a preview.
This is live now.
Welcome back to the Fire You Carry podcast. Nole is sleeveless as he should be. Summer is coming. Tomorrow is the last day of school for the girls.
Oh, nice, dude. Awesome.
Are you in the summer shred program? Do you believe in this?
I'll tell you what I believe in. my calendar revolves around the program. So not that I'm necessarily trying to get shredded, but I'm always trying to get kind of like at peak. I'm always trying to hit peak fitness for the program. And not because the program is super physically demanding, because obviously that's what scares away most people. And we talk about that all the time. That's not the point. But because like we lead the workouts, we lead the hike.
Yeah, you want to look like a bozo.
There's an aspect where like on the hike and the sandbag carry, I have to be ready to give a talk immediately after that. So I can't be, so I try to hit kind of like I try to peak for the program. I've never really been a summer shred guy. We don't really do much. Like we don't go to the beach. So I've never really felt like, a need to be shredded for the summer, but there is an aspect of the cycle of the year where naturally, like this time of year, I feel motivated and like I work harder and you've talked about that before.
Yeah, I think that's innate. I remember reading this guy who said that our bodies innately, would hibernate, think about cavemen would hibernate for the winter, and that we naturally come out of this in the spring and then naturally come out. And you could see it at the station. The tops are popping. People are wearing less. And I think it's a natural inclination to get shredded for the summer.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. You always hear guys talking about it around the station. And I've been asked, hey, how should I do this? And I usually give them some real bad advice. And
I think there's something to that, though. Like Chris Ruano, our dear friend, his whole program, Prep and Defend, is kind of a periodization training program. And I think there's something to that. Like I feel like me personally, I've been running a little bit more. I'm doing a little bit more, body weight stuff, some calisthenic. I don't know, just naturally doing that instead of lifting like super heavy. And then there's those, there are those guys, in the winter time, I feel like it's time. I don't know, for whatever reason, it's a natural thing. I feel like lifting heavy.
Yeah, for sure. I will say in my training program right now, I have been running and doing a lot of hill work. Just started adding weight to that. And I'm getting ready for the potential of brush season, right? Because I work in a brush battalion. So even though my rig isn't on a strike team, I work overtime. There's always the chance that you get pulled in. Not the chance, it will happen. So I want to be physically prepared to hike hills with brush packs. So that's kind of where my focus is now, which does mean I'm running, which if you've listened to this podcast any length of time, that's odd. But running for me looks like running a hill, not like going for a long distance run. Lately, I've been putting in about a mile. That's a little hill loop that we have. So up and down 3 times is a mile of climb and descent. So I've been doing stuff like that. And then just the other day we did one, me and Diego and Captain Watson joined us as well, but we carried some kettlebells up and down that hill for 3 rounds for a mile. It was a good workout. It was good. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now, is just kind of getting ready for the potential of having to hike those hills with those brush packs.
Dude, it's a funny thing how there is definitely some influence. I worked in overtime recently, and there was a younger captain, and he was carrying, it's clear to see he was carrying around a gallon of whole organic milk and drinking this. And then after lunch, I saw him power down 2 huge glasses of milk. His lunch was like meat and rice. And then I said, hey, bro, are you on GOMAD right now?
Yeah.
And he's like, you know about GOMAD? I'm like, gallon of whole milk, baby. And then he started talking about, he saw some video. I forget who it was. He named the guy and he said, like, yeah, if you're under 200 pounds, you're victim weight.
Oh.
It's so he said you're at victim weight, and I thought it was hilarious because I do look back. If you guys don't know, it's a gallon of whole milk a day. There's a lot of old school like powerlifter bodybuilders. I wouldn't say bodybuilders, powerlifters, strongman.
Yeah.
That would say the cleanest and easiest way to get protein, carbs, and fat in extra on top of your meals is by drinking as much milk a day as you can. And I did it while doing the starting strength program, and I went from like 150 pounds to like 185 pounds or more. And yeah, you felt like you could lift a house. So immediately, I was like, I'm going to GOMAD.
I'm doing it again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm at victim weight right now at 185, dude. And then I was like, nah, you know what? This is summer shred. I'll go back to getting large in the winter.
Yeah, that's funny. My son North came home from work the other day, and he said, hey, my buddy at work is carrying around a gallon of milk, and he's drinking it all day. He says he's trying to bulk up. Have you heard of this?
GOMAD.
It's like, yeah. He's like, does it work? I'm like, yeah, it works.
Yeah, it works. So depending on your goals, but it is a thing. I often have competing goals.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, you want to get, everybody wants to get big and strong, but maybe that's, you can't do that at the same time if you're prepping for brush season or running or whatever, trying to shred up. GOMAD will not make you shredded, I'll tell you that, but you will be able to lift a house.
Dude, you'd be so strong. I mean, that's how you get strong. And yeah, dude, there's a difference. I mean, there is a difference between being strong and being just shredded, what we would say looks like that aesthetic version of strength. Yeah, two very different things often, most of the time.
But you brought it up. I love that you have something on the calendar. I've long been an advocate of putting something on a calendar, whether it be your Misogi for the year or the Fire Up program or something, and then working backwards towards that to say, hey, this is what I want my fitness to look like, or this is what I need. And it's a motivating tool. I know it is for you. It is for me, huge. But I like that too, because I mean, obviously I step up hiking and pack hiking and carrying and stuff like that as we're leading up to the program.
Yep.
But it's such a cool thing, man. Like, I know I feel a little rudderless if I don't have something on the calendar. I mean, you and I have the Fire Up program, which is great. There's a few times a year that we get to kind of go for that. But man, do I like that. So put something on the calendar, whether it's a Fire Up program or your High Rocks event or whatever it is. And I think it's awesome to watch even guys that I'm around when they have something that they're going for, just start stepping it up.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what it is, in my opinion. It should be something that you enjoy and that's challenging for you. So if all the guys in your station are training for a marathon, maybe jump on that. Or if that's not your thing, do the High Rocks event. Of course, the Fire Up program is always coming around. Like that could be your thing. It doesn't matter what it is. You'll get in rooms with guys that'll be like, no, you need to be doing this. And that might be true. Maybe that's something you jump on. But like for me, it's not going to be a marathon trip. It's not going to be that type of training. It's going to be something else. I will say this. My attempt at prepping for brush season with the hikes and the carrying weight up hills and stuff like that, if I was on Chris Ruano's Prep and Defend program, I wouldn't really have to do that because I'd be ready, because he keeps you ready for that type of thing.
He keeps you ready
with his periodization programming. So that is the benefit of following somebody's programming like that, that's dialed in and specifically for what we're trying to do. But
yeah,
just a pitch for Chris. Prep and Defend. We'll put the links in the show
I have
notes.
this toxic, yes, big push to Chris. But I was saying, like, my toxic trait is that, when somebody brings something up, I'm like, yes, I'm joining in.
Yeah.
So like there's a guy in the battalion who's started out with CrossFit and got into Olympic weightlifting, and now he's competitive on the Olympic weightlifting circuit. He's incredible. I think he has close to a 400-pound power clean and snatches that are over 300. It's incredible what he is doing. And I mentioning to him while we were on a 7 to 8 hour Connex box fire, started by the homeless, thank you, that we had to wait for heavy equipment. I was talking to him about the Highland Games.
Oh yeah.
And how there was some competitive, all the guys who were pro or whatever said that, hey, snatch, power clean, the Olympic lifts are what got them over the hump.
Yep.
And I was telling him about that, and he starts looking it up, and he's like, oh, this is something I can do. And immediately I'm like, where's the kilt? We're getting back in the mix. And then I was like, maybe not.
The shoulder.
Yeah. And then the other day, we have 2 wooden boxes for box jumps that somebody made at the fire station.
Of course.
We were cleaning up and they stacked them on top of each other. And I looked at it and I'm like, I can jump that.
Yep.
It's like 50 inches.
Yes.
And so after a decent warm up, I'm like, I haven't done a max effort box jump in years.
Yeah.
Years.
Probably since 15.
Years when we were jumping on tires and getting them. And then, so I attempted and I like hit the coping. I got my feet up, but I didn't stick it. Yeah. And then immediately I was like, hey, I need to add in some athleticism to try to go back to box jumping. And we were jumping some significant heights. I don't remember what you got to, but it was significant.
I wish I wrote it down. I have no idea, but man,
I think it was around that range.
Yeah,
dude.
we were we were box jumping crazy height, which was super fun.
But I do feel that point there was that athletic type of power, whatever you want to call it, whatever that type of plyometric is, it makes you feel athletic. And I feel like, oh man, I haven't been putting like athleticism into the training, and I'm going to start doing some just basic stuff like that. Maybe whatever lateral changes, so maybe like some interval stuff with running, basic stuff, because I think that's valuable. You can't just go away from the non-athletic. The static bro pump and a run really doesn't do it. I think it's like lateral movement and some plyometrics and different stuff.
Yeah. I miss that too. It's funny that you should mention box jumps because honestly, 2 or 3 days ago, I was at work and I was programming my workout. I was making it up in my head, deciding what I was going to do that day. And I thought about box jumps. We don't have a box. And where I was trying to work out, because it was in proximity to the hose tower where I do my pull-ups, there's a little stone wall. So I did some box jumps on that, but it's really short. It might be 20 inches. And I thought to myself, I haven't done box jumps I've done them a couple of times, but like consistently, it's been years. And I thought about you and me jumping that huge stack of tires in the back of 15s. I thought, I need to get back to that. That must be a thing. We should probably work on that. But
it's a thing. It's been kind of fun because my daughter is doing track and she's competing in like hurdles, the 400, but she's also doing the long jump and the high jump. And then if you go on any, like I started Chat GPT and how I can help her improve.
Yeah.
It's all plyometrics.
Right.
It's all that, and it's like building that explosive speed, not long distance running. So it's kind of interesting. So yeah, it's all culminating into me like, yeah, we went away from that. I don't know why.
Yeah. Come here, Indy. What do you got? Come into the shot. You're going to have to be on the podcast. What's your question?
Can we play games with Ella?
Yeah, but we got to wait till I'm done.
What's up, buddy?
Kevin says hi. You're fine. I am occupying the, obviously I'm home, right? Skateboard's on the wall. I'm occupying the lair. Indy gets a chance to play video games with his little cousin today. So now he has to wait until I'm done.
Get out of the lair, bro.
I have to be here. You guys missed it. I tried to set up outside, which is why I have the tank top on, because it's warm and sunny outside. I set up outside. I had this great background of the pine trees. Kevin was impressed. And then the internet connection was no good. So I had to move in here. Anyway, that's the story. Yeah. Dude, let me ask you a question.
Elon will fix this. Starlink.
Don't get me started. Let me ask you a question. What do you think when people look at the program on the internets, what do you think is the part of it that they are the most nervous about when they sign up and are coming out?
It's always the unknown, right?
Okay,
so
yeah.
Like, what am I getting into?
Yeah.
And for some that could be on the fitness level.
Yeah.
For some that could be the faith thing. Mm-hmm. For some things like, hey, we're going to expose or have to talk about feelings or something. I think it's different for every person.
For sure.
The more I talk about it, there's a commonality that if you look at some of the founders of that, they tend to be fit guys. I mean, you talked about Rolando Tebow yourself. And I think that people that know them would be like, oh, those are super fit guys. They're going to be like one of those SEAL fit things or whatever, where I'm just going to get brutalized. And that's not it. You know what I mean? But I do think that there are other people that have been hesitant to come out because it clearly states on our thing. We'll talk about faith. We'll talk about PTSD. We'll talk about those things. And do you really want to sit down there for a weekend and talk about that? I don't know. And I think, for guys like you and me, the fitness thing is fun. I can't wait. I would much rather do that than sit around and talk about my feelings. But for other guys, I could be very intimidating and say I'd much rather talk about my stuff than actually go out and do a hike. So I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's a fair thing. I think on the ground, once they get there and get a little bit into it and kind of get the realization that, these guys it's not a boot camp. They're not trying to break us off. We are going to get some good physical activity in, but it's not guys yelling at me. There's no embarrassment there. There's no winners or losers, that type of thing. I think once guys get past kind of that and get a little bit into kind of the first walkthrough of, the conversations in the small groups and stuff, I think the thing, at least on the second day, that everybody is kind of dreading is the ice bath. And that is kind of funny because a lot of guys are so nervous about that if they've never done it before. And then after the fact, it becomes kind of their favorite part of the program. But I like what you said. Yeah. I agree with it. And we just held a big class, really big class.
Huge.
It was amazing. It was so good.
40
guys. We say this I think we say this every time. It was the best class that we've held yet. And I think that's accurate. They just keep getting better. But dude, we can highlight like what you said about the fitness. I do think that's the number one thing that hold guys back from signing up. And at this class, when we did our workout that we do on the field that is written and programmed by our good buddy Chris Ruano, shout out Prep and Defend. We had guys out there that were in their early 70s.
72.
All the way down to a young man who was 16 who came up with his dad. And every single one of those guys participated. They all got a good workout in because we're able to scale based on kettlebell weights and movements and stuff like that. Everybody got a good workout in. There's a lot of teamwork in that workout where you're working out with a partner. You're both taking breaks. The other guy's working. So you have a chance to get your breath and encourage the other guy. You can work as hard as you want or as hard as you can for you and get a great workout. And at the end of it, everybody feels good. Nobody's injured. You got a great workout for wherever you're at. And there's no judgment because at any given time, even I will say the guys that are part of our cadre that are, really physically fit, it's part of what they do for a living or part of their life. Even those guys will frequently come up with a shoulder injury or a knee injury. They'll have something that's holding them back. And there's always still a way for them to get a good workout for kind of where they're at. So I love that we do that part of the program early on Saturday because I feel like it kind of breaks that barrier down and breaks that wall down and allows guys to realize, there is a physical aspect to this, but it's not perhaps what I was afraid that it was going to be, which I picture the boot camp experience where, and I wouldn't want this either, even with my background, I wouldn't want to go into an experience where there's guys standing over me and yelling at me and, making fun of me for not being able to do another rep. Like, I don't want that either. And what we do it's definitely not that.
It's not that. And I've heard from, I talked to a lot of people that have come up and we've had a tremendous amount of civilians, quote unquote, regular guys. And I didn't know this, but, we're surrounded by firemen, but there could be a perception that, hey, you're above average and that, hey, these are, tip of the spear kind of guys. And then, you talk about, you would laugh at that coming from an Army Ranger background, being like, no, those are the tip of the spear guys. And then, it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But
I think SEALs would laugh at that and the Delta boys would laugh at that.
Right.
Yeah. You keep going up.
I think it just keeps going on. And then, but, I think it's the personalities that are there, the guys that are willing to come up and be part of the cadre and to be willing to volunteer their weekend to help somebody else is the type of guy that none of that matters. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And so I think the overwhelming response that I've gotten from is like almost immediately that was dispelled. Those rumors were dispelled. And that like, hey, I'm so glad I came. And some of the best parts I got out of it were the jujitsu, which is very introductory, very light. You will not be hurt during that thing. And but there's a camaraderie formed, right? And we're all trying to learn from great people and figure out how that would. And I feel like that we're just getting a little work in that breaks some down of some of those walls of saying, oh, I was intimidated and now this is no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me say definitively, because there's a lot of stuff around the program because we've been doing it for so long that we kind of take for granted that people know. But if you're listening to this and this is kind of the first you're hearing about it, or you're not really sure, the Fire Up program was founded by us, by Kevin and I and Chris Ruano and Mike Kenobi and Jason Teeter and Dave Tebow. And now it's a bunch of other guys. Most of us that are leading this thing are firemen or fire captains or engineers or whatever. But it's not a program that's for firemen. It's really for all men. Now, of course, we are firemen, so firemen come to this thing and we love that. But we also love that when the IT professional flies in from Florida, which we've had like 3 times, different guys who were in IT and came in from Florida, but which is interesting. But it's for anybody, as long as you're a man, of course.
And I think sometimes those guys get more out of it.
100%.
You know, we hear so much that I think we take for, you said it, we take for granted that we literally get to break bread with guys and work out together as our job.
Right.
Like I get paid to shop and cook and clean and work out, you know, and, you know, guys that are going to a normal office job and now we've seen a lot of guys that have come up that they work remotely and that there's the isolation portion of it, which is not how we were biologically designed in my belief. Yeah. And I think being around those guys and just doing what we normally do in a day at the fire station is pretty powerful. And the connections formed out of that is tangible. And so you say, okay, there's definitely something here. We need community, right? We need to have a brethren around us, you know, to do like-minded things. And that's how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be in those tribes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then on the faith piece, let's talk about that for a little bit too, because I know that's a thing for a lot of people. I will say that as a guy who grew up in Christian camping and around ministry, you know, my whole childhood, all the way up to when I left for the military, that was my world. I really appreciate what we as a team have turned the Fire Up program into. And there is absolutely a reality that when you come up, you will hear us praying. You will hear us talking about our experience with trying to walk with God. You will hear us read Bible verses here and there. You will hear that stuff, but it's not the type of environment where it's being jammed down your throat and where we're going to say, you know, you have to do this, you have to do this now. It's the type of thing where, just like everything else we are trying to offer at the program, whether it be jujitsu, working out, breath work, ice baths, any of the other tools that we're trying to pass on to guys who might be struggling with something or just need to level up, it's just a suggestion. And just like, I mean, the ice bath thing is a good example. I personally use ice baths in my life for various reasons that we've talked about on this podcast ad nauseum, but I'm not going to go to anybody and say, you absolutely need to do this. I'll explain to you why I do it and why I think it's beneficial. And then if you want to do it, great. If not, that's okay. I got guys in my life that are constantly encouraging me that I need to do the sauna, and I don't do it because I don't really have access to one and because I hate it. But that's kind of the environment that it's like. We're going to talk about our stuff. We're going to talk about our experiences, what works for us. And if that works for you and you want to take that with you back home, rad. If not, that's okay too.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite thing about it is you get a room of guys together and they all have different experiences and they all have different tools that they use. And all we share is your personal tools that you use. And I can share mine that are different. Dave Tebow talks about jujitsu at length. Nole doesn't train jujitsu, but we can see the value in what that's done for Dave Tebow's life and can appreciate that tool has been beneficial for him, his wife, his children, as everybody else. And it can appreciate it for the weekend. And I think that no matter where you are, you know, whatever tool that individual is talking about, is that I've seen this firsthand, is that people pick and choose. They might say, hey, I'm going to do this journaling that Nole talked about, or I'm going to do this breath work that Kevin talked about. I'm going to do, I should put in something challenging in my life like ice baths because that's something I can attain. I'm not going to go climb a mountain, but I can sit in some cold water or take a cold shower. And I think that I've seen that guys piece together all of our different tools that we present individually and kind of create their own program on how to personally level up if that's something that you want to do. And even more interesting is how much I think we get out of it because we hear from guys who are doing something in their marriage or doing something with their children or something with a teenager or whatever. And we hear these things and I'm like, oh, yes, of course, that's what I should start doing.
Yes.
And I think, it's just as powerful for me as it is anybody else coming up.
Yeah. Every class, I have come away with something that has changed my life in a small or a large way. And I got those things from guys who signed up and came up to the program. And then in the course of conversations about something, I learned about whatever and then took that home, took that back with me and added that to my life, and it made my life better. And I'll say this on the we'll call it the religion aspect of the program. We have had multiple guys come out who aren't religious, or maybe they're even from another religion, but I can think of several off the top of my head right now who are not religious guys. They don't have a faith. That's not how they live their lives. And those men have come up and then they've come back, which I think speaks to the fact that they're comfortable with that, even though we're talking about things at different points that they don't agree with. That's not how they live their lives. They're not in, but they come back because they're still getting other stuff out of it. And they're not putting themselves in an environment at the program where they feel like they're being belittled or there's pressure or there's, looking at them like they're different or lesser than. Like, that's not the environment. And that's encouraging to me because obviously as a group, as a team, as a cadre, that's one of the things that we wanted to be able to do, is to say, it doesn't matter what your job is. It doesn't matter what the rest of your life looks like or what you believe or what your level of physical fitness is. We know that you as a man have some struggles. You have some difficulties. You have some things that you're either going through now or you've been through. And we would love to have the opportunity to come alongside you and say, hey, guess what? Us too. Here's what we're doing. These are some of the tools that we're using that are helping us to try to be better men. And maybe some of those things will help you. And that's the goal. And it's working. And it's kind of hard to sit here and say that the program is great because it's something that you started and that we as a team built. And it's hard for me to be the self-promoter sometimes, but it's working. It's been amazing. It's been a huge rewarding experience. We get stuff out of it. Like you said, the guys come and invariably do too as well. And it's hard to pin down what that might be, but it's working.
It is. I think there's a mutual respect because I immediately feel a mutual respect for somebody that would sign up for something like this and come up.
Amen.
And we've had guys fly across the country that knows nobody in the room.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And got a rental car and drove up the mountain in the middle of nowhere. And the mutual respect there is that those are my guys.
Yeah.
That's the type of guy that I want to be surrounded with, is that we don't have all the answers and we're seeking. And it's the seeking I feel in my life on how to be a better husband, how to be a better dad, how to be a better person, better in my work, better in whatever. Like, I don't know what that says about me, but those are the type of people that I like, is to say, hey, how do we, I'm never finished. Right. And I never know and the guy that's like knows it all and has all the answers and has it all figured out is not usually the guy that I gravitate to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think there's this mutual respect of you walking in the door. We all feel like there's a common spirit there of like, hey, we're all in the same boat trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think it breaks down some really neat things because, on paper, it's impossible not to, look at somebody else's resume or see whatever they're doing on Instagram or whatever and not compare. And then when we all get into a room and we actually get into it a little bit, everybody's got the same stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's different, obviously, but a lot of the same stuff that, as men, we're stoic. We try to just swallow but there's the financial pressures. There's the marital stuff. There's the kid stuff. There's work stuff. It's all the same stuff. And I think that's powerful in itself, just to know that, hey, I'm not grinding on this wild road by myself. Like, there are all these other dudes are in the same grind.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. The aspect of the guy, I mean, obviously, it's a big jump for anybody to sign up and come out to this thing because there is that level of unknown. Like, we understand that, but it is a whole nother level when somebody buys a plane ticket and flies out, jumps in a rail car, comes up, doesn't know anybody on the ground. Those guys have the best time, and we're so humbled that they come out, and we love it. And those guys are our friends now.
Yeah,
I was literally just
real
talking
good
to
friends.
Randy from Maine via text and email, but like, we talk, and that's amazing. But the cool thing about doing something like that is that it's a win. You're taking something that's challenging and hard, and you're saying, I'm going to do this. And then you go and do it. And so even just showing up is a win. Everything else that you get and benefit from after that is like a bonus. And I wanted to talk about one thing with the ice bath, because I know when guys come up, it's for a lot of guys, it's like the big scary thing because they've never done it before. Obviously, guys that have done cold exposure before, they get it, they understand. But at this last class, there was a young man, his name's Johnny, and he's a friend. And we'll just say he was apprehensive about the ice bath. He'd never done it before. And we all do it together. It's this great experience. It's an awesome environment. Nobody's forced to do it, but everybody does it because there's, peer pressure, and it's not a big deal. But sometimes it feels like a big deal. But after the fact, he was so fired up about it, and he was talking about trying to figure out how he could like do it on a semi-regular basis in his own life. And I ended up seeing him a couple of weeks later, and he was talking to me about just how great of a time he had at the program. And we were talking about it, and he brought up the ice bath, and it was a huge win for him because he was nervous about it, right? Which is understandable. It's a terrifyingly cold body of water, and you don't know what that experience is going to be like. But he saw the benefit immediately after he got out and was immediately sold and happy that he did it. If it's a big win to do something like that, which is a big part of the reason why we do the ice bath at the program, right? Because it is challenging, even for us who have done it on a semi-frequent basis. It's still something that you don't really want to do in the moment, but then as soon as you get out, the benefits are immediately obvious. You feel amazing. You defeated this challenge that your brain and body was telling you, you probably don't really need to do that. And there's so many aspects.
It's a form of bravery,
like
right?
It is 100%.
It's a form of bravery, right? And I don't think, I think we do get a little bit of that in the fire department. It's like, but I get paid to go into something that people run away from, and it's very commonplace. But I don't want to go sit in the ice bath, and I feel like for a regular person, you know what I mean? Like, again, there is a comfort crisis in our society, and that they're not often given that opportunity to step up and to do something that could be intimidating or scary or whatever. And the ice bath is just a lower level of that, where mentally it's the same thing as feeling of like, could I jump out of this plane? Could I go into this building? And I think we all have those questions. Could I do that? If encountered with a life or death situation, could I do this? We all have those questions. We all have it, right? And then I just think that gives them or us just a little glimpse into that. Like, yes, you do have it. Yes, you could overcome what your brain tells you shouldn't do. And some of my favorite things in the world are like I used to skydive a lot, and watching the person who is their first time jumping, and they're losing their mind, like losing their mind. But when you see them on the ground afterwards, it's the most euphoric like thing I've ever seen. And it's so cool to just watch on a human level. Like, they did this. They were petrified. And I've seen that at that program with the ice bath. There are people that are saying, absolutely not. I will never do that. Yeah. And we just explained, it's just cold water. You don't have to, but I think you're going to regret it if you don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then coaching them through it and then watching the euphoria afterwards. It's almost the same thing as watching somebody skydive who shouldn't have, you know what I mean? It's very cool. And I feel like on a man level, I think we always want to know, do we got it?
Yeah.
And that's one little way to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Of course you can do this.
Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
And you don't have to jump out of a plane.
You don't. It's much cheaper.
It's just sitting in some water. It's sitting in some water.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Yeah.
There is something interesting about the ice too. When we first got this, probably a decade ago, I'm not going to say we were the first, but we might have been the first people to have an ice bath in the fire station. And even you and I didn't know that 30 seconds was possible.
Yeah.
And when we go up there, there's something about that environment with the guys sitting there. Like almost nobody doesn't hit the time of like a minute and a half.
Yep.
Almost nobody.
Yep.
And a lot of them, it's their first time ever sitting in it.
Yeah.
And that's powerful. You can see what, I just think the power of like, oh, this is possible. Okay, this is not a big deal. These are the guys doing it. Nole's doing it. Kevin's doing it, and it seemed pretty normal. And so I think there's something about that, like visualizing and seeing what is possible. That okay, it's possible for me, and that's I think the same reason why I think the program works is because you can see dudes that are successful in some aspect of their life and be like, oh, that's the blueprint.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the blueprint. That's what I should start doing.
Yeah. That's a great example. Because you've mentioned it before, but like thinking about the very first time we got in the ice bath at 15s and how like I jumped out almost like shrieking after, I don't even know, maybe 30 seconds, but we had no idea like what was possible. We didn't know,
right.
but now we do know. And yeah, watching somebody else go do it for a minute and a half, you're like, okay, well, that guy did it, which means I can do it. And the rest of the program, and really the way that you and I are trying to structure our lives, and I know for you, the podcast listener, you're trying to do the same thing. We want to surround ourselves with men who are doing things and executing things that we want to be able to do. And just having those guys around you and listening to them talk about how they're conducting themselves and how they're living their lives. Like that's how we also then know and are encouraged and can see the blueprint of how, oh, if I want to be really good at jujitsu, this is how I do it because I know Dave Tebow and he can walk me through it. Or if I want to be really good at, being fit enough to go fight the wildfires of Southern California, I'm going to talk to Chris Ruano and everybody else in between.
Yeah. Back in the business world, they used to have the saying like, hey, you don't need to duplicate. I mean, you don't need to like reinvent the wheel. You just need to duplicate success. Yeah. Like, and then I feel like that's a big thing for me is like, hey, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I need to be around people that are doing things that are, or where I want to be. And that's all I have to do. And it's the same thing when I was trying to get in the fire service. I was coming from a banking world. I'm like, I'm not going to ask the bankers how to become a fireman. I had to go to the firemen and say, what did you do? How did you do it? And what do I need to do? And then create a program to like work backwards. Okay, I got to start getting good at written tests, oral interviews, obviously fitness, and just the mindset. And so I love that about that. It's because I go up there and be like, oh, I don't need to search Chat GPT. I can just talk to Nole about what's working for him when crap hits the fan. I can talk to Tebow about consistency and discipline and the balance of that in your life. I can talk to Ruano about saying, what does fitness look like at 50 as a fireman? Yeah. You know what I mean? And those are the things like, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I can just duplicate their success. And those are guys that are admirable people that I would be like, oh yeah, I can just talk to them and then figure out a plan and see how it works for me.
Yeah. And the two examples I gave are in the physical world, but the awesome thing about our team at the program is that if you want to talk about marriage long-term and what that looks like, we have guys like KT and Dell who have been married longer than most of the guys have been alive that come up to this program. So you got rad resources like that. And then if you're interested in, what does it look like to be a man who's trying to follow God and be in the Word, we have guys like Todd Bradstreet and Andy Sines who you can go to and talk about those kind of things, and everybody else in between that I cannot give everybody's name. I would love to, but our team is huge at this point. So if I didn't say your name, I love you. But yeah, that's one of the coolest things about it. We are trying to get you to sign up if you didn't notice.
Hey, you know what came up? I was talking to my brother, Joe Flahaven. This is his second time up.
Yeah.
The first time he came up, he did the full weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then this time he had a kid and work conflict. So he had only come up on Saturday. And he said, I don't think you should allow anybody just to come up on like a Saturday.
Interesting.
He goes, I can already tell I'm already behind on like the camaraderie and what guys went through.
Yeah.
And stories. I'm playing catch up, and I felt like kind of a little bit of an outsider.
Interesting.
And it was interesting because he's done both right now. And I feel like this is unique to the fire up program because in such a short period of time, we get so close. It's in like one night. And you and I've done Mighty Oaks. I've done breathing seminars. I've done marriage seminar. I've done so many different random things that I have signed up for and tried to do. And it takes hours, if not days, to then learn who the person's name is next to you.
Yeah.
Right. And within a night, I feel like there's this like unbroken brotherly bond because of what we've done for the first night.
Yeah.
And some of the stories and some of the things that have been shared. That, yeah, I think he's right. I think that I think it's something, it's almost unexplainable, but there's a power in the room for sure that guys that are willing to come up want that thing, and then it's there, and it changes people so almost immediately. And I was hearing stories this last class, even some of our cadre members who have become like best friends with just random guys that have come up there. And they go hunting together and their families get together and there's barbecues, and that is so cool to me that like these relationships formed it's just not a one-time thing.
Yeah. Amen. Good stuff. Well, it's good to be back. It's good to be back together. We're not in the same room. Obviously we never do that anymore, but at least we're recording together. This is what the people want. It's what they demand. We are actually, just a little inside baseball, we're kind of adjusting the way we do things. You're going to get more of this of Kevin and I together with guests or without. We're changing some of the ways we do this. We're going to start taking this a little bit more seriously. And I'm saying that out loud here so that you guys can call me out when we miss 2 weeks. And you can say, hey, you said.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I did want to bring up? I think our dear friend who got on a plane from San Francisco, Eric Story.
Eric.
What a rad guy. And he's come back multiple times. But I think this time they had 3 generations of them.
Yeah.
It was father, son, and grandson. Yep. And to me, that is the coolest thing. One of the cooler things I've ever seen. As I think back, like I didn't have like, our grandparents died pretty young. And we didn't have like some of those like stories of like, how influential your grandfather was in your life. But I can only imagine the seeds planted in that grandson when you're doing things like ice bathing, working out, talking about everything under the sun. And like, what an incredible thing for a young man and his dad and his grandfather to experience all at the same time.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Daniel and Sebastian. I mean, Daniel's been out before. Obviously, it was Sebastian's first time. Both rad dudes. So fun, especially Sebastian because it was his first time. But it was so fun to get to know him and hang out with him a little bit. And yeah, I mean, not only is it just super humbling to have a guy like Eric who continues to come out and is now a friend. I've seen him multiple times now outside of the program where he's come by and visited me at the fire station or whatever because he just happened to be in town from San Francisco. And it's just so rad and it's super humbling and it's an awesome aspect of the program. Like you said, there are guys, all of us in the cadre who now are close with guys who have come up and now are either part of the team or not. But the cool thing is that's also happening in the mix of the guys who are signing up and coming out for the first time. They're walking away with buddies that they stay in touch with. And that's rad. I don't know where else you can find something like that.
No, it's very unique. And I know that there's some other hand in it that I can't describe. So I'm glad, we just got to keep doing it. And I really encourage you to open up, be brave, come on up. You won't regret it. I don't think that there has been a person, we've probably had 200 plus people come through.
Yeah,
at least, right. That I said that was a waste of time or that was a bad weekend or I shouldn't have done that. Like not a one. And so you will get something out of it. And I just don't know what that is for you, but I highly encourage you to check it out. Our next one's October?
October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
2, 3, 4. So put this on the calendar. Sign up. Let's go.
And if you're listening to this for the first time and this is your first exposure to hearing us talk about the fire program, I should say that Kevin and I aren't making any money off this thing. We are a nonprofit. You do have to pay to come. If it's a financial difficulty for you to pay to come, please reach out to us. We'll help you. But it is a thing where we raise money through other means to make this thing happen, to put it on, but it is something that we are all doing on a volunteer basis. So we're not selling this super hard because we're trying to get rich and build our empire. We love this thing. It's been rewarding for us. We know it'll be rewarding for you. So if you didn't know that, now you know.
Now you know. What do you got going for the summer, brother?
Nothing.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of this July. Well, really starting in late June. July is going to be really busy with the Fife and Drums because it's America's 250th anniversary. So our little patriotic musical group led by the youth of the mountain is getting so many invites to different events. We have had to turn down so much cool stuff. So I'm busy with that. And obviously, of course, work is work. But yeah, we don't really have any big plans this year for the summer. We're just kind of lay low, and we got some projects around the house that we're working on, but nothing, no big plans. What about you? Do anything cool?
The kids are busy. They got junior lifeguarding going on, and there's a church camp that they're going to for a week, which is kind of cool because they're both at the age where they can go together at this church camp, which is a week away from mom and dad.
That's cool.
And we're going to try to use that week for us to do something just together for maybe a couple of days.
That's great.
We'll see. But yeah, that's about it.
Awesome.
But I will say we have not nailed down the specifics yet, but this is also the 25th anniversary of 9/11, and we are going to be doing our sixth?
I don't know. Is it 5 or 6?
5 or 6. We put on a 9/11 memorial anniversary, like a stair climb where we climb 110 floors. We've partnered with Stairmaster. And it's one of the cooler events. The Fire Up program that we've talked ad nauseum about is for men and men only. But this is one of those things where I can't tell you how many of the Fire Up guys come out with their entire family. And there's this vibe that it's very cool. It is a memorial. We do make that a thing. There are pipes and drums out, and you are climbing specifically for a fireman who passed away on 9/11. And we ring that bell, and it's very powerful to not forget that. But it's also an incredible family environment where the entire Lilly family is going at one time. The Welsh family is going, wives, kids, grandparents, everybody's out there. There's food and drink. And so keep an eye out for that. It's one of my favorite events of the year. And it's just a very cool thing. So, and this is the 25th anniversary of 9/11. I know where I was at. Nole knows where he was at. And what's interesting now is that we're getting people that were not alive on our job when that happened, and I feel it's a cool educational piece.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, looking forward to that. Like Kevin said, as soon as we get details on that, we'll push those out.
Well, stay jacked and tanned, get your summer shred on, and sign up for the Fire Up program. This has been the Fire You Carry podcast. Glory show. Dude.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
What did they think of it?
They loved it. They're in it was Yellow Card in Newfound Glory.
That's beautiful.
Yellow Card was trash. We left.
Really?
Yeah. But Newfound Glory put on a heck of a show.
Yeah, I would imagine those boys do. That's too bad about Yellow Card. They were kind of a flash in the pan. Newfound Glory's been around forever.
Yeah, they put on, it was like 2001 all over again. But it was really funny because they've been to shows, but they were more like concert seating at like SoFi or whatever. This was like a punk rock show.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, can we go up to the front? And I was like, no. They're like, why? I'm like, because it could be a mosh pit.
Yeah,
I don't know if somebody's going to mosh pit at Newfound Glory.
You never know, though. Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, it depends on the crowd.
They did. And now they're like, oh, I see why you stand back there. And how do you explain to a 12-year-old girl why dudes would want to violently smash into each other?
Yeah, I don't know if it translates.
Dude, but immediately when it went down, I was like, oh, that looks fun.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Sleeping Giant is coming up.
It is coming.
Like 2 weeks.
I'm stoked on that.
I can't wait.
I am stoked on that.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. All right.
Okay. Have a great day.
Thanks for jumping back on, dude.
Yeah,
I'm glad we finally made it work. Hey, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.